It's Tuesday, and this is Trekland HQ version 2, and we are live. Hey, recruit, yes, but you ever found a Star Trek fan where you least expect already? Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live, number 406, boom, with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland. Hey, and it's the heart of Portal 47. And yes, TreklandTreks.com, your customized away mission here in Southern California for true real life Star Trek shooting sites off the stages. So many, there's over 50. Get in touch with me, LarryNemechek.com or TreklandTreks.com. We will fix you up for the summer season. And here we are. It's another Tuesday, hopefully, for some sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture in all things Star Trek. And yes, it's a summer here where the news is slow in Trek world. No absence of news in the real world, but Trekland is part of the real world. And I've just been on a vacation, and as you all know, we were off for a couple of weeks, although I did a live from SoonerCon. And hey, it's great to see everybody coming into the chat. If you have just come across Trekland Tuesdays Live for the first time, this is our 8th year. We started our 8th year here every Tuesday at about this time, at a time when we can get the global folk, get the Europeans, get Australians, get folks in East Asia in. And yeah, we've had South Americans and Africans join us too. But best of all, you're here. If you're new to TTL, introduce yourself. Say howdy to everybody. Let us know how the weather is. How's the trek where you are? How's your trek where you are? We're starting summer, kind of summer season. The big cons are around the corner. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Comic-Con San Diego. I have a panel in the early evening on the Friday of Comic-Con. Then, of course, 2 weeks later, thank God 2 weeks, not 1 week. 2 weeks later is Trek Vegas. There's more happening around the country. The smaller regional creations are coming up. Other cons are happening. Phoenix Fan Fest will be early September, et cetera, et cetera. But I just got my convention summer started off. Phoenix. I said Phoenix. Salt Lake is in the fall, excuse me. But I just got my summer started with all my old home friends. Isn't that cool? Don't panic. SoonerCon 33, Don't Panic Tau. Just had my friends, old folks, back at SoonerCon again in Oklahoma City, Norman, actually, and had an extra week. And that's where I'm coming from today in just a second. But a couple of reminders. Remember, if you're new here, you may want to know that if you're coming to me on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook comments in our great chat, which I hope you've jumped into already and said how do you do to all the great TTLers here in our chat community, again, around the world. And if you are on YouTube or Twitch, you're going to see all the comments. Just to say, also, if you're on YouTube, you can take advantage of I don't monetize this very much. I have my Patreon, but other than that, we're not patronized here for the live stuff. So it's great. We have a super chat feature. You could monetize for a question. It's kind of interesting time in Trek. We knew this was coming, and now we're living through it. It's not to say that it's not an extremely interesting time in the world at large. And who was it that said, may you live in interesting times? Or may you not live in interesting times? What was that? Anyway, the chat is going. If you'd like to ask me a question based on way too many decades in Star Trek and the context of Star Trek, please do. I appreciate it. But it's July 1st. We're starting a new month. The Americans are going to be celebrating their independence. Canada Day is happening, right? And just like the first day of Star Trek, Canada beat us to it. Different years, though. We beat you to it in years. And now, 250 years, we made a big deal out of the bicentennial in 76. Oh my gosh, was the bicentennial big thing. A year before Star Wars, people marketed the hell out of the bicentennial. By the time people had been celebrating for 4 years with bicentennial stuff, bicentennial toilet paper, bicentennial this, bicentennial Band-Aids, bicentennial whatever. Bicentennial graduation announcements. The class of 76 was so sick, they rejected they went with the one plain design. At my high school, go Bears, this class of 76 were so sick of everything bicentennial after 3 and 4 years that they rejected all the 4 different options and went with the plain one for the class of 76. Left my class to say we were the first class of America's 3rd century. And there's your marketing already going. No. Next year will be the 250th. Nothing happening. I just don't think. We'll see what a year does to us. I just don't feel like Americans are in a very party mood right now. Which is interesting because we are looking at our Star Trek and wanting to party hardy, just as Star Trek gears down, right? And I say that because we've been talking all year about how we were talking every week there for a couple of years with peak Star Trek, peak TV, and Star Trek's part of the big pizzle. We're all sitting around. The the tea leaves are looking like the Skydance purchase, merger, whatever, of Paramount Global is going to happen as expected. Still waiting for all the melodrama behind that. We've been talking about it all summer because there's nothing else to talk about with Star Trek except the little promotional dribbles that dribble out. But we are in the debut month, finally, for Strange New Worlds. Season 4 with a season 3 with a season 4 to film and then 6 episodes. Once again, you celebrate it. Rather than kill a show and mourn and protest afterwards, they end a show so you can celebrate it, but it's still canceled. So they'll get the 5 seasons. That's now the custom of 10 episode streaming seasons. In any case, we're waiting on that. July 17th, we're waiting on Strange New Worlds. Academy apparently won't be out till next year. So here we are, gang. We are watching the tea leaves, watching the meager headlines. Good to see everybody champing in here. Oh, if you're also new to Trekland Tuesday Live, I'm going to talk about a topic here today, this one, and then we'll take a micro break. You don't go anywhere. I'll be right back, and then we will go through the chat. So just because I'm not dipping into the chat yet, it's great to see everybody. We will do all that in just a second, okay, if you are new. And if you are new, I hope we have lots of lurkers. We have lots of longtime lurkers, first-time chatters. So maybe that's you, or maybe you're here for the first time. Here's all I want to say this week, in admittedly a time of, the biggest headline of the week is that we're turning the calendar in Trekland. There's lots of other crap happening in the world. You know what I'm talking about. Even some of it, as we've been saying, affects the future of Star Trek and the movies in Paramount. But here's a little ray of sunshine for you. So yes, we were gone 11 days, which is insane. And you know what? Again, had a blast at SoonerCon. Just to give you an idea, SoonerCon 33. They've cut back a little. See, on the badge, porn. It simplified things and all of that. But still an awesome time. Biggest SoonerCon ever. They're right at about 3,000 folks, so that gives you an idea. But 2 Trek actors, Garrett and Ethan. Ethan Phillips, original Ethan, I should say. Great weekend, great con. And, we talked about sci-fi and Star Trek. And I talked about a lot of things I've been talking here with people who aren't privy to our audience. They're not Well, we had Portales. We had a Portales Portal 47 live dive. It was great to see our members live. Meet some of them for the first time, even. And, did all the things and did the regular panels and did something. We did our State of the Trek. And I could tell that we're generally pretty savvy with not only the content of our shows, but the content of the culture that makes the shows, right? And that we talk about here every week, that I talk about with our Ask Dr. Trek roundtables with the Portales. And I talk when I'm a guest on other podcasts and such. And by the way, speaking of other podcasts, Genealogy, a fellow Roddenberry podcast to the Trek Files, has a show talking about DeForest Kelley's pre-Star Trek run-ins with Gene, including the pilot 333 Montgomery, and a couple of other episodes that he guest starred in, and talking about the Gene and Dee relationship, Gene Rudd and DeForest Kelly. So I urge you to go over and take a listen to that. I was honored to be that, and I think Chris, the Transporter Rooms podcast, I was a guest on recently too, and it's out there. So yeah, we're all kind of talking and rewatching and doing that for lack of headlines. But something funny happened this week. We had several extra days back home, and I had some fun but business and meetups to do concerning Route 66, which the Route 66 centennial is next year, 1926 to 2026. And aside from being awesome and fun, America's highway, and at a time when we may find all these artificial divisions between us and we forget how common we are, one of the most common bonds we have is let's hit the open road and go see the sights, go have an adventure, go see America, the scenic, the good, and yeah, the nostalgic and retro. And we have a plan for next year happening. But what doubles us up for me and a lot of people is that as of the 50s, Route 66 was christened the Will Rogers Highway. So there you go. Claremore is on 66. Santa Monica and the Palisades, where the ranch was, the property still is, as we figure out what to do post fires. But there's a lot of Will Rogers interwoven with 66. It's part of it. And we had a meet up there. And then I got to meet up with folks in my Will Rogers world too. And that's where this inspiration comes from. So one of the people we got to talk with, and catch up with is Tad. Tad Jones, the director of the Claremore base Will Rogers Memorial and Museum. It's been there since 3 years after Will died and has been about to be added on to again. Busy time, juggling around, going to see people. We went over to Rogers, Arkansas, 2 hours from there, and I got to research some about Betty Rogers, Will's wife. Interesting person, the woman behind the man. Interesting gal for her time, and atypical in her family. Topic for another day, another audience, but just to say, you never stop learning things. Kind of amazing. And talking with Tad, the curator, we're having coffee. Come to find out, as we say back home, come to find out, Tad is a Star Trek fan. Promotion, marketing, properties, but he's been with the state for 10 years promoting Will, building coalitions. They passed a bond issue, got appropriation, doing a fundraiser to expand the museum, add a 3-story tower to it for extra exhibit space, updated offices that haven't been built or added onto since 1979, 1980, and an event center there to bring more prestige and attention to Will, who sadly has been getting a lot of attention nationwide because of the fires out here. Also, the Birthplace Ranch was sold to the Cherokee Nation. Will was 1/8 Cherokee. And they're adding an event center that'll be more tribal focused, but still. And they're renovating the Birthplace Ranch. So a lot happening back there, even as we're kind of negative. But this morning, I find out that that Tad is a huge Trek fan. And he's wanting to grill me what I'm thinking about now. And of course, Janet's with me, and she's, got her Voyager years in, firsthand, front row. All of mine, and we talk about Star Trek and the world and old and new for 30 minutes before Janet said, are we ever going to talk about Will Rogers this week? Or are we always going to talk about Star Trek all week long? I just was shocked, but then he got me, didn't mean to. We were talking about the fires, and my better half looked at me and said, how's the Star Trek fence? Is the Star Trek fence, did it burn? And I'm like, what do you mean the Star Trek fence? And then I went, oh, you mean, and then I'm looking at Tad and hey, lifelong Trek fan, and his brother and his kids, sci-fi, yes, his brother especially, But no, talking about seeing movies, talking about moments and things. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You know that they shot parts of Star Trek 4, the one with the whales, the Voyage Home, at the park at Will's Polo Field in Santa Monica, in the Palisades." And his jaw dropped. I said, he's like, "What?" I go, "Wait, you've had this job for 12 years. You've been out to visit us. You did not know, you closet Trek fan, you, well, to me anyway, you did not know that the cloaked bird of prey, Jillian in her blue beat up pickup, dumping the guys off, that was not at Golden Gate Park. That was at the Polo Field because they ran out of shooting days at Golden Gate Park. Take a Trekland trek so we can go there as soon as the park is opened again." I could not believe that Mr. Will Rogers and Mr. Closet Trek fan did not know about that. So to answer the question, yes, it's easy to rebuild fence, except it wasn't singed. I had to call up some Trek Core images and show him. He was flabbergasted. It was so much fun. And it was a great morning, great day. The whole week has been great. The whole week was now. A day earlier, or 2 days earlier, as we came through Tulsa to get to Claremore, right off I-44, which is, an old 66. Oklahoma has more miles of original Route 66 to drive on, original mileage pavement, than any other state. And New Mexico has slightly more miles, but Oklahoma has more. Currently, you're able to drive on it miles. They have almost as much mileage as New Mexico to begin with, but they have more. If you're trying to be a purist and drive on the actual alignment, the actual pavement, there's more in Oklahoma than any other Route 66 states. Just so you know, just so you can plan your trip for next year. I know you're saying, "Larry, I thought this was a Star Trek show." Hold on. Oklahoma is an excellent history museum. I've been a life member of, when they would do that, of the Oklahoma Historical Society. It's actually a historical society, unlike California's, I found out, that is in the state constitution. It's in law, and it has to be funded every year. Highs and lows, goes up and down, but it's funded and it's structurally part of the state. The State History Museum, the State History Center, which was the new edition, was built, 15, 20 years ago. There has been an offshoot idea for the past almost 15 years of what they call OK Pop, which is a pop. They pull all the pop culture elements out of Oklahoma history and give it its own museum. And that's going to be not Oklahoma City, but in Tulsa, in the Arts District. Brand new building. What I didn't know is it's right across from the infamous, famous Cain's Ballroom, where Bob Wills and many other acts over the years since the 20s became famous. Bob Wills had 50,000 watt clear channel KVOO to become famous on. Bob Wills and his Texas, but Western swing, combined swing, big band swing, and country fiddles. Yeah. Right across is their brand new gleaming. It's going to be 3 years till they open. But the director, the second director, first one I'd met, got me to donate a lot of my things to their homies, a lot of early fandom pieces that tell the history now in retrospect of fandom roots in Oklahoma and how we, like other places, were doing things in the 70s before fandom came out of the closet, so to speak. But the second director, as of the last year or so, is a guy who had been number 2 at Will Rogers in the history. So he's a big Will Rogers fan, as well as history and museum management and Oak Pop, and telling the story of Oklahoma's musicians, not athletes. They have their own museum, but musicians and actors, movie stars. Brad Pitt was born in the same hospital as my wife, not the same day, 10 years apart. All kinds of wacky people. It's like every state's that way, though. People, not every, the old joke about no one was born in LA, they all just wind up here. Or almost New York, the same way. But among these dozens and dozens, here's Will. Here's lots of other folks, too. Lily Sloan. Alfre Woodard was born in Oklahoma, if you didn't know that. Lots of faces, names, and all these walks. But I'm talking to Jake again, Jake Crumweedy, who is now the director as they prepare to get over the last of their fundraising and get opened. And I had remembered this, and for some reason it came up, and he is a huge Star Trek fan. In fact, he kept peppering me. He was apologizing for me not bringing his book to be signed, et cetera, et cetera. I had known that, and he reminded me. Tad totally dropped my jaw, right? Somewhere along the way, I think one of the ladies in Rogers, Arkansas's historical museum, where I wound up spending 4 hours, I think she was a Trek fan too. And as I'm sitting here getting ready for today and thinking about how there's a dearth of headlines, right? Not much to talk about. But every once in a while, the thing to talk about is right there in front of you. It's right there. And you all know that have been with me for a long time over the years. Every once in a while, when it's a little slow or when it's extremely busy or we see it on the horizon coming right at us, every once in a while, I've broached this. How are you going to evangelize for Star Trek? As we've been in a new era, and probably the pendulum keeps swinging on the new era, the legacy shows, the current shows that we both like and dislike, the things on the horizon, the things not on the horizon because we're all away. In all of that, what do you do to gain new fans for Trek? Are you evangelizing? Are you keeping your eyes open? Are you pulling your geeky friends in to make them more slanted towards Star Trek? Are you finding complete mundanes, as we used to say? You finding complete mundanes out there and getting them hooked? Are you doing your part? It's not my job to make that. That may be your attitude. Fine, I'm not gatekeeping, but it's always fun to find people and make them. I know there are a lot of people who have coupled. People find their significant other, or they interview their significant other potential. It's the application project, and they dance out there with the geekery. They dance out with the sci-fi and the gaming and whatever whatever your boat is you're floating. And if it's Star Trek, at some point you bring Star Trek up. And sometimes you're surprised too. Sometimes you're surprised because they were secretly closet. Sometimes they're open to it. Sometimes they're like, oh no, I can't stand that stuff. Not the guy with the ears. And then you're watching in your space at your time. You're watching, and they walk through the room and get intrigued. They get intrigued, whether it's Anson Mount's hair, or it's Spock's original sexual, or they're watching Lower Decks and cracking up. Whatever it is, they think Patrick Stewart is sexy bald. Whatever it is, they're walking through the room and they fall for Ferengis and they love Armin and Mac. Whatever it is, the wacky thing happens. But here's what I'm saying. I'm always asking, are you evangelizing for Trek? Are you going at it actively? Don't knock them down. Don't smother them. You're smothering me. Don't do that with Star Trek 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. But, are you doing your thing? This last week of traveling reminded me that sometimes you don't have to evangelize. Sometimes the Star Trek fans are right there under your nose. Sometimes they're right there when you least expect it. It sounds like Candid Camera. They're right there when you least expect it. Now, this particular week, the Venn diagram of Star Trek and Will Rogers kept crossing over. Of course, Terry Rio, that wrote DeForest Kelley's biography, she told me that years ago. She said, well, I totally get it that you're a Will Rogers fan. She said, DeForest Kelley and McCoy are the Will Rogers of Star Trek. Oh, I'd never thought that. And as humanitarian and as diversity-minded, we didn't have the buzzwords for it. But my God, Will was 1/8 Cherokee. He's blended culture. He grew up with black kids. Freedmen, slaves taught him how to rope. He was, and he carried that native heritage all through a time when it was not cool, unless you're in a cultured area where that was tourism or something. It was not a big deal to talk about ethnics, right? Everybody was trying to blend in and fit in. And the blacks were just on the outside. And we didn't even talk about the brown-skinned folks, our Hispanic friends. Will did. Will Rogers ticks all the boxes for our modern sensibility. And so I guess it's not odd, that the Venn diagram of will fandom. But I always thought that was me. Now I'm looking around and I'm finding it must be an epidemic. But again, the other side of this coin is I'm always talking about, don't be fooled by online fandom being all fandom. Just like I'd say, don't be fooled by convention fandom and the different flavors of convention. Is it Trek Vegas? Is it San Diego Comic-Con or a Comic-Con near you? Multi-flavored? Is it that? Is it your local regional, like SoonerCon? Was it one of the pro cons, like the creations, like the Galaxy cons, or was it a fan? They all have a different flavor, and that's cool. I'm just saying, even with the diversity of conventions, that's not all fandom. But I've called armchair fandom now for, I guess, 20 years, ever since social media popped up and you had to realize that social media fandom was not all fandom, online fandom. Good old, we sit at home and we just watch the shows and enjoy them. And maybe I have one or two friends that I talk about it with. Now, that's where all fandom starts. And if you get the itch enough, you may start buying more books beyond just the novels. And you may buy more than just action figures, right? Assuming you can find them. And maybe you do still drag your kids in, or your nieces and nephews, or your grandkids, or even your mom and dad, or your uncle and aunt. You're evangelizing that way and keeping it in the family, and the family grows. But sometimes, beyond that armchair fandom still includes lots of silent Sams. You know what I mean? There may be people in your own, at work, at your church, where you eat, that your favorite waiter or waitress, wait person, wait staffer. There may be somebody that you see every day, and you don't have to go sell them or lure them in, because they might already be. Especially, I'm going to just say this, especially if they tend to be happy and upbeat and outgoing and have a smile for everyone. Doesn't seem to be a, you know what? I'm not going to be political or even socialist. I'm social mind. I'm just going to say this, the way that I used to categorize people. Are they open-minded or are they closed-minded? And if they seem to be someone who is welcoming of all, what's that old line? You might just be a Trekkie if. I was triply shocked this week, over and over and over again, to be bopping around Oklahoma in some very nice climes and situations, I should say, and kept finding Trek fans where I least expected. Has that ever happened to you? Sometimes, are you shocked when you come across a Trek fan just out in the open, out in the wild? Has that ever happened to you? And a lot of times when we're wearing something subtle, I never like the big screaming t-shirts. Now, cute ones, if I'm at a con or on the cruise now, all bets are off. Of course. But just to go get the groceries or go to the post office or, run to a store, go out to a park with family, whatever I'm doing, traveling on a travel day, and you have something subtle on your cap, on your lapel, on your t-shirt chest, not the whole screaming t-shirt, but just something on the chest patch. And it's, a lot of people like subtle. This is just a Maquis, this is just the Tal Shiar pin. This is just the Klingon trifoil or whatever you call it. This is just a UFP logo. A lot of people, you're in the checkout line and people the checker makes a comment about it. And you're like, oh, that happens, right? So somewhere on the scale of impact, the tiny little moment, the nod, the honk, somebody passes your car and they see your rearview mirror sticker, and they do you a mirror universe. I don't know. Those kind of passing moments, the kinds, or the bigger moments. Have we all had a moment like that? And do they pile up? Do they stack up and we take them for granted? I know. I'm just curious. All I'm saying is this week it just kept happening and happening and happening, and of course made me smile, made me confident for the future of this franchise. There's a lot of doom and glooming right now that maybe after the current 2 commission shows are done, that somewhere between the chaos of the turnover with who's going to finally own Paramount and be in the big boy chair to make, or big girl chair to make decisions about Star Trek, hopefully we won't go 11 years without small screen, but who knows right now? Maybe Ellison leans into movies, which would be a thing, but we don't get small screen adventures. We're back to waiting every 2 years for a 2-hour movie. Not sure what's going to happen. What's the future of the streaming situation anyway, right? All these things. And what does that mean for toys and games, animated series, you name it, go up and down the line. Even things like theme parks, right? Real live experiences. It's all up in the air. But the more we come across, Trek fans in real life, and we talk about it, and the zeitgeist is out there, the awareness is out there, and you do something with it, even. Talk about it, write about it, point it out to fans. And yeah, you can evangelize them, but you're not having to evangelize them into Trek itself. Now you can point them to your favorite online Facebook group or local meetup group, or podcast, or live stream, or YouTuber, whatever you do, your favorite books and magazines, whatever it is, they're already halfway there. You can bring them home, or you got to respect them. You can't gatekeep their lack of active fandom. They might want to just be armchair fans till the day they pass this mortal coil. Thank you, Neelix. And that's what you respect, of course. I'm just saying, it's so healthy for the future of the franchise for not everybody to be online and discouraged, or not everyone to be convention folks, because those armchair fans at home that have been there all along, or they've been there for years, and yeah, they're watching the new shows as well as the old. They still had their favorites. They had their favorites and lesser favorites amongst the new post-Discovery, just like they did over the years. DS9, yes, I love TNG, but I love DS9 a little more. I see it for what it is. I'm older now. I appreciate DS9 where I didn't before. That's a common thread. That's what Tad said. Anyway, it's just something to think about. I don't know if I'd say that it's a relief to know that this old franchise that we've loved, after 60 years, there's not a lot to compare to it. 60 years next year. 60 years if you count the Cage being shot last year, and Where No Man's anniversary this year, and the Selling Point coming, in the spring. It takes all kinds. It takes all kinds of fandom to support something that lasts that year. And the people you see online, the people you see at cons, are not the entire end-all be-all. The people like Jake and Tad's brother, and Tad's kids, who do not belong to a club or a Facebook group or podcast subscribe. Gang, 80% of people come to conventions I found of all kinds still are not podcast people. It's exhausting to them, or they don't have a community, all the reasons. So we can't put our blinders on. We got to get out of our ruts. We got to keep our minds open. It's a shifting world. Brother, is it a shifting world? But Star Trek is not going anywhere anytime soon. And if we go back into a fallow time out of Paramount, we do have not just our tapes, we have our hard copy medium. And the appreciation of that is going back as the streaming places remind us that they're not the most stable all the time. The best thing to do is have that physical media on your shelf, and nobody can ever take it away from you. But yeah, recruit fandom whenever you can. We still need our numbers to grow for all things, merchandise, the power behind ratings and views and all of that. But sometimes wear the right little doodad, say the right word, say the magic word, you win a prize. And you might just find a Star Trek person that was there in the wild all along that you never expected. I can't wait to see if anybody has a story to share today. If you do, please do. And listen, if you're watching us later, not live here on YouTube, I appreciate that. Leave a comment, tell your story, tell your experience, share your marker too, okay? And then maybe sometime you can join us at 1-ish Pacific on Tuesdays, 4-ish Eastern, every Tuesday, most every Tuesday. And you can join this conglomeration, but I appreciate everybody who's here live with us and everybody who's watching later. Don't forget, we have Super Chat where you can throw a little bit of silver here and help us with the costs, with everything else that's come of doing this. Now, I'm going to do what I really want to, what I obviously need to do. So the folks that really do help us out a lot, of course, that's our Patreon. So want to thank all of our Patreon folks, our TTLers. Hey, Chuck A., James Kerwin, Dinah Hopkins, Halberd Gunn-Johnson, Lawrence Todd, Greg Wickstrom, Mitch Keith, Andrew Jazemski, Justin Weir, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, Chris Jiggins, Keith Rombach, and Comedy Forecast. And our live wires, yes, indeed. That's Jesse Crusher, Crusher Convo, Jesse Crusher. I bet you wish it was Jesse Crusher, right? Chris Garris, Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, J.R. Poole, Gary Williams, James Durovich, Dave Gregory, Dan Leckie, and Casey Shafsky. Everybody, thanks so much for being one of those folks. One of our TTLers. It's my Patreon. You can do it. It's very simple. $5, $10 a month. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. I keep it simple for the shout outs. The $10 folk get the shout out and access to the earlier years of behind the scenes, guest nights, visual recordings. About the first 5 are audio only. That's how fast everything changed back in 2015. Coming up on our 10th year anniversary for Portal 47, we'll have our 10th anniversary open house, which will be free to the public this fall. I've got to nail down our guest. It's usually sometime in October, but keep aware of that. We open the doors and suddenly Portal 47 looks like everybody else's live stream guest podcast. But in the early days, that's how we financially structured it. So it's a gimme. It's a sample. Let you know. We also do a sample Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable too. We have the Portellis are there. Lots of people. I think my record so far has been 60, but we can add plenty. We have somebody of note. Who was it last year? Was it the Hageman brothers last year, I think? Yeah. And of course, you're there. You can ask them questions live too. That's coming down the pike, so to speak. But thanks to all my Patreon folks. And listen, I've been self-peddling the Trek Files lately. This week's penultimate season 13 is, you know what penultimate? Penultimate means next to last. So episode 23 is up now, and you'll recognize this name, you TTLers, Adam Costco, Dr. Adam Costco. Excuse me, we're live. Dr. Adam Costco wrote his book, Late Star Trek. He's talking about analyzing Enterprise onward with a kind of a metric that he used to talk about the show and also the fandom in the world we're living in as far as the delivery. And he joins us for the Trek Files. The document of the week is, where is it? It's the press release for Discovery. And we use that to springboard into talking about Discovery. Yes, I know. The document of the week on Trek Files this week is something from this century. Go figure. No, we have a lot of fun. Ben Robinson, the last 2 weeks, oh my God, talking about roots of those early drafts behind Star Trek II and the polar bear genetically altered human. We had so much fun. And the very first concept of Savick. And yeah, being half Romulan, half human, or half Vulcan. But even the version before that, the very first, where Savick was written with 2 S's because a small s was, well, you'll have to see. Check out the Trek Files if you would, please. And don't forget, we finally have a community space that's awesome. We use Discord. It's under the Roddenberry Mission Log Discord. For $1 a month, You can access all that, and you can be at our every other week Trekophiles Tonight live discussion for the Trekophiles of the week. I appreciate everybody here so much on Tuesdays. I love my Patreon, my Portal 47 folks, and my Patreoners too. But as part of the Roddenberry family, we have finally the Trek Files has a family place, both as a message board spot and as a live meetup. We had it yesterday, every other Monday at 4 p.m. Just go join their Patreon for $1 a month, and you get all the Roddenberry shows, fan clubs online, and also a lot of fan one-off meetup groups too that aren't connected to a show. You'll just have to go check it out. I'm still exploring Discord, but it's a great way for our fans of that and the rest of the Roddenberry shows even to come over and check it out. I know we've got some Trekophiles Tonight folks here, and well, the whole thing, the total Trekophiles section on Discord, folks here as well as Portal 47ers too. Gang, the rest of the time, you know where you can find me. It's Larry Nemechek on Twitter X and on Blue Sky, and Larry Nemechek's Trekland on Facebook and Instagram, and portal47.net, kind of the old man of all this now. It feels weird to say. 2015. The only thing older than is my blog and website. Portal 47 for all the Trek fans who have no idea how much Star Trek they still have no idea about. We've had an amazing, never before done this way, 3-part visit with Rob Bowman. The Benson sisters from Prodigy season 1 are going to be our July guests. Just to say, you can join Portal anytime. Just had a special at SoonerCon. But you can go and join portal47.net and jump in and live dive with everybody. It's all backstage Trek and what it does for the shows. No actors allowed. We love them, but they get to talk everywhere else. These folks need their stories saved and their photos saved and their insights and the history that they bring to your awareness of Star Trek. So yeah, it's your backstage pass to more in-depth Trek, Portal 47. And of course, we'd love to see you on Trekland Trek's tour too. Everybody, that's going to do it here on YouTube, the archival version. Anyway, live folks, you hang on with me. You'll be here for the chat in just a second. If you are watching us only on YouTube later, again, jump into the comments here, leave a story, leave a comment. Who are the Trek fans that have shocked you in real life that you didn't have to recruit? They were already there. You just had to find the connection and get over yourself because you're shocked that they're a Trek fan. Hope everybody will share that. And as we say goodbye, we'll see you next Tuesday, of course. What is it Foreman Scott used to say? The good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Yes. Hey, and until then, everybody, I know a lot of folks were at the Trek tour. Now, say the Trek tour is not location. The Trek tour are the stages recreated. James Cawley's licensed his fan sets turned into a set piece licensed. A lot of folks were up for that, having a good time last week while I was in SoonerCon. We're into convention season. So I hope people, if you feel like sharing a story from anywhere, please do. And or what you're excited for this summer too. We can talk about that too. Until next Tuesday, though, please, everybody, stay healthy, do all the things, stay woke, check the sources. Unfortunately, it's pretty thick out there and getting worse. And help, buckle in the folks next to you before you take your own oxygen mask, okay? Yeah. Basically, Trek well, everybody. Okay. How is we? Hey, my figure universe. You were just all over it with the says, but yes. What's funny is when you're not even looking for them, gang. And they just come, they find you, or they accidentally find you, right? But hey, everybody. Hey, Dave. Hey, Joel. Christoph, good to see you holding down Europe for us. Um, oh no, Dave, you're doing construction and watching this at the same time. How does that even work? Hey, Alan, thank you for bopping in here, and thank you for being a patron for so long too. That's kind of amazing. TTT. Let's see. What are you saying here? My figure. I always love San Diego Comic Con's time of the year. Chance to see all the wonderful pictures and people having fun. Yeah, yeah. Europeans who needs those. Hey, Cake. Good to see you too. Um, Sherry, I should be on YouTube. My YouTube is shows that it's going. Am I not on YouTube? Everybody else is on YouTube. Sherry, I hope you got there. Um, hey, Dave. Brilliant weather, great Trek, introducing boyfriend to new Trek and some shows he hadn't seen. Just finished Picard, Prodigy, and Starting Enterprise. Well, that's a lineup. He's ecstatic. Awesome, awesome. We will maintain. We will persevere. Nevertheless, we persisted. Hey, Ma. Hey, Sherry. Yeah, Plushy McCoy is right back there. Let's see. Christoph, I have no idea what you're even talking about, but I get it. Twitch's newish 2FA strategy with those code emails barely coming through might explain the silence on Trekland's Twitch. Well, I'm glad you're over there checking it out for us. Mona, hi, and it was good to see you yesterday on the Trekophiles show. Absolutely. Are you proud that I actually remembered it was Canada Day today? Does Canada have a 4th of July? Yes, but it's on the 1st. Happy 1st. It's funny. Yes. Everybody. Hey Sean, when no suitable rule of acquisition works, make one up. I think Quark would be proud. I think Quark and whoever the Negus is at the moment. Yeah. I would rather celebrate Canada Day than the 4th this year. However, there is that. There is 18 days to go for SNW. Hi, Libby. And Libby, it was so great to see you at SoonerCon and in there again. And Libby, one of my, well, midterm portales, but longtime convention buddy from Midwest here. We're basically 3 episodes away from Strange News halftime. Not too bad. Oh, you're looking at the big thing. Yeah, now that'll be 46. Yeah. Ish. Yes. Joel, you didn't get the memo? This is true, and they're technically a 5th season now that we know 5th season is the law, but they've been cut off a few more than even Discovery got. So that's odd. No, we don't know exactly how we're going to get to that end because the season we're about to see is 3, unless you know some good leakers. 4 is being filmed, and 5 is yet to write, or they're working on 5 right now, writing it. I think. Cool. Cool, my figure. Yeah, that was an experiment. I've done a little quickie live. Well, I do lives from cons, but at the beginning of a panel, I did something a few years ago. I went for like 5 minutes, as long as we could stretch it out. So that was the live from SoonerCon. That was a TTL live. Was at 4:00 on Friday, so it wasn't exactly, big numbers. So, but it was still a good crowd, and people spoke up and talked. We only had 8 or 10 in the audience, but it was a good talking bunch, and people had things they wanted to say. They had things they wanted to get off their chest. A lot of what I kicked it off with was news to people. Yay. Or it was insights they hadn't considered, dots they hadn't connected. So, my job here is starting to be done. And yeah, it was, so thank you. Thank you. And I did a couple of lives too. We had some fun too. And thank you to Dave. Yay. Just the walking around lives are some of this you can't get rid of. Oh, now, Libby, come on. Come on. Hey, we don't have life support live now regularly. Um, yes, a lot of you that had not seen Chris, that was apparently we've made a convert out of Chris. He said on Trekophiles tonight yesterday on the Mission Log Discord show for Trekophiles. Chris said he was going to almost assuredly come to SoonerCon next year. So there you go. But yes, Chris Garris and I got to meet up live for the first time. And he's getting a lot done with his podcast. So many good podcasts going. Hi, Sydney. Yes, yes. Oh boy, how goes the cleanup on the ranch? The actual houses have been debris cleaned, but because of if you know the park, Sarah's Point is a promontory sticks out into a canyon behind the polo field, and things are a long way off from the actual structures or interpretive structures devices. What we're going to do meanwhile right now, the whole Palisades is cleaning, debris filtering, detoxing, debating. People are selling, trying to hold on to the quality of the neighborhood without selling out and gentrifying, or some people that are selling are, because the prices are insane, and people trying to do something to maintain the quality of the neighborhood, all that kind of thing. But the park is in slow motion, but right now there are two clean recycling plants happening. There's one pulverizing clean concrete, and there's one that's pulping up e-waste into mulch. And there's a place that has a contract with those through October that can be, and there'll be no public entrance even hiking through until both of those are gone and not making noise, not having some dust out into the air, et cetera, et cetera. So sorry, I need to plug the girl in. Yeah. So it's going to be some months. As far as the big picture of what to do with the park, still very much in everybody's kind of bulbous, vague, hazy future planning, and nobody really setting up to make major plans yet. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It took me a second too. Yeah. The horse ranch fence behind the painted whiteboard fence behind Jillian. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. The truck changes. It sure does. Who would have thought nobody was going to? That was on a movie screen. That wasn't even on a little TV screen. Those are pickup trucks. That's why there's two different models. Hey, Jesse, thank you for Patreoning and in between work duties. Yay, everybody. You're checking out Crusher Convo, right? So many good podcasters doing so much good work. And I'm thrilled that we've got so many here, and a lot of you, some of them are Portal 47 folks, just in all my communities. I would like to think along the way, when she first joined Portal 47 in 2015, Marina Kravchuk was not a public fetish figure. I would like to think that I helped give a few people a boost to get out there. That's funny. Thank you, Joel. Hey, you got Will Rogers in my track. You got Trek in my Will Rogers. Hey, kids. The dirty dealer meant no harm. Wait, I'm mixing commercials. There you go, Cake. I'll let somebody else say it too. Yay, 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 yay. Well, Sherry, you're just way too open-minded. All the Will and Route 6. I'm just telling everybody there's going to be a huge amount of activity next year. If you're along the route, if you're California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas for 12.6 miles, Missouri, Illinois, you're going to hear a lot about it, but hopefully the rest of the country will hear about the Mother Road and the cultural impact of 66. from the Okies and Grapes of Wrath up through the 50s and 60s, and even the recovery when the interstates were, 44 and 40 were going to doom it, and 10 at the very tail end, when it looked like the interstates were going to doom 66 and it's important and bypassing the towns, and how it's come back as living history and a cultural touchstone and a reminder of other ways to do things, and just funky, and a whole cottage industry of tourism and people renovating old neon sign motels, and just all the folk history and the folk fun and the folk food. It's just all good, a lot of fun. Well, Mona, I know what you feel like. I've still got to do my Black Hills, Bozeman, Montana loop up there someday, Mount Rushmore, and yeah, you can. Yes, Sean, they've gone about as far as they could go. You sound familiar, Ma. Sherry, oh. Yeah, San Antonio Rose, and all of them down the line. There you go. Well, Mona, you don't have friends in every state? My goodness. Hi, Rose. You're in with us. Yes, 1st of July, Canada Day. Creative ice cream flavors. Oh, you guys, did you see my photo? Thank you, Rose. Did you see my photo of I had 3 flavors of homemade ice cream at once? I had my Brahms to start and end the week, and then I had ice. Oh, I only gained 10 pounds, and I've lost half of it back already. Never go home and think that you're not going to gain weight. I'm sorry. It's just going to happen. People throwing food. And if you meet people, you have to meet people with food involved. You have to be somewhere. There's always food. We had leftovers. I could never eat my leftovers and save the money because I was always having food with people. It's such a wacky, wacky, wacky thing. Hey, Melanie. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There you go. Well, somehow, Sherry, I think you're going to hang in there. And if there's anybody that I think can convert your husband, it's you. It's you. Jesse, we are proud to have you with us anytime, gal. Thank you, Mona. McCoy is the Will Rogers of Star Trek. That makes it, and it makes so much. For years, hey, gang, I lived, as many of you did. You lived through the get a life era, right? Before we finally won. And I could always say, I have another life. I mean, I worked in news, but it's like I have my Will Rogers events and activities and responsibilities and passions. I have another life. And now people are telling me, yeah, but it's all connected. I mean, I realized that a long time ago, the humanity. And Will was the first guy on his block. If Will was alive in the 80s, he would have been the first one to have a 500 baud dial-up modem. I mean, Will loved gadgets and the cutting edge, and he was promoting aviation, and he was telling every city to hurry up and build an airport. And he has one famous line. He said, before the next war, America better learn to fly, or we better learn to dig. I know. He was very impatient. The train wasn't fast enough and boats weren't fast enough. We're going to be flying. Everybody's going to be flying, and just get over it. And it's more fun. You can get there faster and quit wasting time, or whatever. Mona, I think you do too. And here's the good thing. There's so many resources. There's a YouTube young woman, can't think of her name, but she was doing things about comedians and comedy and classic and pioneering comedians that you might not know. And her YouTube, very simple. She's sitting in her apartment with a long, narrow room behind her, but she is just so genuinely authentic and talking. She can't believe that more of the world doesn't know Will now. And she talks about why, probably. And she's the best ambassador for telling modern audiences and modern ears and eyes and sensibility and younger people why Will is so incredible for any age and still is. Yeah. Joel, that would be awesome. Yes. Here's the thing. My mom, there was a great cake shop in Norman that did painted cakes. And a friend of mine that became a friend later, He was an artist, and he did a picture. He did a painting of me dressed as McCoy, stepping in a cow pie with and the word balloon said something about, I wonder if Will Rogers ever had to put up with this or something. Anyway, he combined start with an Enterprise in the sky and some cow skulls laying around, like very old West Desert looking. Anyway, he combined Star Trek and Will Rogers in that cake top. But yes, I'm all for this. I am all for this. Why the raccoon for SoonerCon? I don't. They rebrand years ago in the '90s. Boomer was a little baby reptile dinosaur, and it was the mascot for SoonerCon until they forgot about it over the years. And 2 or 3 years ago, they did a whole new rebranding, modern volunteer marketing, or an intern or something. And yeah, there you go. Oh, my figure. Well, you know what? Maybe it was just the approach vector or the intensity. We held off our kids. We didn't drag them to we tried not to drag them to conventions. When they were real little, they'd come to Star OKC meetings and sit under the table at the library, or they would go play in the kids section and read. And then I find my son, he's big in gaming, and then the weekend that he came in kind of ashamedly to ask me about Worf's human foster brother. And I'm like, why? It's because we're role playing Trek, and I have to settle an argument. And I didn't want to, he says, I didn't want to send the kid. I didn't want to send him in because he'd never leave your office. Because I've kind of hidden you. And I was like, oh, okay. The Trek found you, even when I didn't. Maybe someday I'll do a show about that. So I'm just saying, have some patience. Have patience. And maybe if they have similar interests, just not that, maybe they'll come to it on their own. Or maybe they'll be ready for you. Like, how old is your son? 37. Oh, well, then don't worry about it. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Well, there you go, Mona. And, again, it doesn't have to be your family. It could be your quasi-family, right? Absolutely, Rose. They stole that. I mean, it was an homage. It was an homage from Galaxy. That's a color they had this year, and it's not normally their colors are kind of a pastel blue green or a turquoise, bit more green, foam green, and see here, this was the palette. Again, there's the palette. That's usually the palette. It's almost like if you had the original Okudograms but skewed purple, like in this foam green. There you go. Hey, Joel, have they announced this? Has this been announced? If it does, I may have missed it. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. We've been talking about it for months. Don't panic hey, Carl, don't panic if the raccoons come after you. Yeah, Carl, I wish I could get up to Salt Lake like I did several years there. Hey, Exismir, the trifle I've heard is that what they call the radiation sign. I always thought it was a fan. Hi, Exismirman, coming in from Twitch. Sorry, I'm not sure. A trifoil is actually the French thing, but for some reason I keep calling the old original Klingon painted on the original D7 a trifoil. They finally came up with a real canon name for it, and don't ask me what it is. What are you seeing, my figure? 2 weeks ago, you did see a car in front of me that had a Klingon logo on their back window. I wanted to follow them and make them my best friend. Well, isn't it nice to have that be the reaction, and some of the other than some of the other crap reactions that happen on our highways, right? Road rage things. How nice that there's something on somebody's car that makes you want to chase them down to say hi, not to run them off the road. You were paying at Pet Supplies Plus, and the guy saw your Star Trek trident. He gave me the live long and prosper when you left. See? Now, if he's still there the next time you go back for more stuff, you can build upon that. You might snare him into volunteering at Starbase Indy. It was a great week, Sherry. It was. We were exhausted. We had one slow day, Friday, and I wound up having 3 meetups back in Norman on Saturday because we spent after SuperCon we were back over around Tulsa and Claremore and Rogers, Arkansas, for the middle 3 days, and seeing my brother for a couple of days, and my brother's family and everybody. Carl, you've got a baseball hat with a metal Star Trek arrowhead on it. I had a clerk say, "Nice Aquaman hat." Facepalm time. Aquaman? Is there anything remotely in Aquaman that looks like the Delta? I don't know. I don't know. The animated series had an aqua shuttle because there's something about an aqua shuttle, man. Yeah. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Sherry. Well, it's very open-minded of you too, my figure, and your channel reflects that. Yeah. Does that raccoon have a helmet on his head? I don't know. This one, he doesn't always, maybe, but yeah, that one, he's a space raccoon. He's not Rocket Raccoon from this was only 2 or 3 years old, so they're intentionally not doing that. I wasn't around for the think tank. At least it's not, the raccoon is landing. You're in a tarot group. Often use your TOS tarot. It has 80 cards in it. Okay. Yes. Make sure you have a player for your physical media as well. Yeah, Christoph. It was definitely a SoonerCon thing. I wanted to say it was Rocket Raccoon, but isn't that what I don't know. There you go. What are you saying, Jesse? A lot from my guests. They love DS9 more so now than they. That's when I do my classic hands up poll, show of hands poll. DS9 is the series that has shifted from its original run because of the way people can binge it now. And you can binge without having to have the set of videos. Yes, a Pan-Galactic Raccoon Blaster. Here you go, Cake. Yes, you're a Sofa Trek fan. No merch, no teas, just a few white YouTube favorites who have taken me in and provided shelter and education. Alrighty then. Am I on that list? Do I qualify? This is true, Libby. You're a magnet. Absolutely. If you're going to have license plates on your car, yeah, or as we say back home, tags, license tags, you park by a local Starfleet bigwig. Oh, okay. Oh, well, this is a soldering iron for cosplay. Okay. You going to be the Borg King? Oh, okay. There you go. Uh-oh, Rose, you're thinking. Thinking about Don't Panic was also in Dad's Army and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. Oh, Dad's Army. Yes. I want to watch. I think I watched the first couple episodes of that. Oh, well, just an idea. Well, this is what I mean. Maybe it's Rococo Raccoon. He's very curly cued. There you go, Mona. Of course, different groups have ways to interact face to face too, but there you go. Oh, well, it was Rocket J Squirrel, but Rocky the squirrel, Rocky the flying squirrel was a squirrel, obviously. So it could be. Oh, Sherry, Crick is still rising. I-40 West reopened between another flood and landslide. Jeez, it's been months since the original, but it's loosened the ground. Yeah. It's very high, Mona. It's sadly, all the living costs are very high. We'd love to have you. Of course, if you get out of ways, it's lower than it is. You think LA, people think California and LA and San Francisco, but there's lots of farm towns and smaller towns, and it's spreading. Like where I moved to is an hour and a half from LA, but we're right off a freeway and can get it. And there's lots of events, and there's a lot of history and culture and good people around. Um, okay, that's a promise. You and a bunch of other people here. Absolutely, Carl. Good advice. Yes, yes. And especially if you're going to the protest. Let's see. Hey, Nova Charter, you just go right ahead and somehow you found your way to Twitch. So that's awesome. You lurk away. You just lurk away. Oh, two-factor authentication. Thank you. Thank you, 2FA. Every time you log into Twitch, they send you an email with 6-digit codes. Second factor. I see. Excuse you guys. That's not about the company or the editorial comment. No. You're still recovering from CenterCon, Libby. And the Negus is ROM. That's very true. Eternally. It was on lower decks, right? Right. Hey, Dan D. Oh, that was you. Wow. Hey, bud. So that was you over on Twitch. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, people forget about that. Yeah. If you don't want to celebrate the 4th, you can always celebrate the birth of the army. Yeah. What are you saying here? When I say we know how it's going to end, what I mean is we know how it's going to end for Pike. Ah, yes. Can all Starship phasers still be set to stun like Kirk did? Well, I would think so. I talk about this all the time. Nobody talks about wide field hand and pistol and rifle phasers. Did wide field phasers go away? I mean, they Operation Annihilate, they did wide field phasers with a hand phaser, much less in a pistol, much less with a rifle. And the ship mounted stun phasers they use in Piece of the Action, right? I wish. Did they do something with ship mounted stun phasers in the pilot of Strange New Worlds? Strange New World? Was there something with ship mounted phasers on stun in the S&W pilot? I'm just off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember. How many? Well, Mona, there'll be 46, I guess, for Strange New. And there's more than that for Discovery because Discovery had 15 and then what, 14? It was like 15, 14, 13, and then 10 and 10. I think 65 then. They'll have a few more. Okay, Libby, be safe. Boy, everybody was just on Star Row that turned up there. A lot of you guys knew and know. Yeah. There we go. Okay, that's what I thought. Disco had 65, and they'll have 40, and S&W will have 46. Yes, it's not an even anniversary year, but the anniversary of Apollo 11. Every time people say the moon landing, I always want to say, well, please say the first moon landing, because there was 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. there were 6 moon landings, and the other 5, as at the time, just get forgotten. And then the one that people remember besides Apollo 11 is Apollo 13, which they should, but it wasn't a fulfilled moon mission. Yeah. Wow, you're just covering all the bases. Okay. Hey, Dave. Thank you. Good to see you too. Hope it's not too odd coming up there. Hey, Sherry. You had a friend who trained as an air traffic controller, was out in Oklahoma for his training, then wound up at JFK and retired from there. Yeah, the what's it called? Next, it's adjacent, but it's located at Tinker Air Force Base. No, maybe I'm thinking of Air Logistics Command. I was thinking there was some kind of a civilian but aeronautical related thing, and it may be what I think it's pretty what you're talking about. Mona, that photo of ice cream made your own. Sorry. Our minds, yeah, love and happiness. I have so many. My mom was such a good cook and also good at desserts person. Down home time, you betcha, you betcha. Amen. Amen to that. I've always said that, what Star Trek piece of technology would you want first right now? And I always say transporters. You can get and go and not have the dead time. Funny how I mentioned Will Rogers being a fan of advancements in technology, and that reminds you of your grandfather. He was the same way. He was the first person to buy a VHS player and camera. See what I mean? Absolutely. And it wasn't a vanity thing. It wasn't like, be the first on your block. It wasn't about keeping up with the Joneses at all. It was just one of the newest and best. And if it was faster, better, cheaper, then that's what he wanted. He wasn't scared of, people were still afraid of flying and hesitant to fly. It's like the transporter and the pilot of Enterprise. What would Will think about AI? Well, they're working on some AI wills that can be programmed to say his original voicings or to read his words, and it's scary good. He would be very wary like Kirk and McCoy are in Ultimate Computer. He would be very worried about machines taking people's jobs and all, et cetera down the line. But I don't know now if the genie's out of the bottle. Oh, there's the people that try to reassure us all about AI dangers. It's not even about the evil computer, right? It's not even about what's the evil computer on Lower Decks? Argus. It's not even about the evil computer takes over the world. It's just the disruption of jobs. Now, if somehow new jobs are created, I don't know, AI washers. Don't know. But you're back into that eternal, the computer's going to take your job. The thing is, AI is so slick, it's not easy to tell when it's not human. And that's where we are. There you go, Cake. Cake is eternal, as that makes sense. Yeah. Yes, he did. Zahir, howdy doody, Zahir. Yeah, I will post it or put it out somewhere. She's young. She's in her late 20s, probably, and just so thrilled and excited and a little ticked off at the world in her sweet way. She's ticked off at the world, doesn't know Will, and she's doing her best single-handedly to remedy that. And I left a comment about, oh my God, this is exactly what I've always thought and what I try to do at Will Rogers. And she never acknowledged it. So I don't know if she's still working on the the project that she was doing all that with. Yes. Yes. Katie Mears. That's her, Christoph. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, gang. I will find, you talking about the Will Rogers McCoy crossover with the cow skulls and the cow pie? I will find that picture. Okay. Because I know I worked on it and tried to do it. Well, in a way, yeah. But see, Will wasn't just he came from horses and cowboys and Western shows, but he played all kind of parts, and some might say he's a little bit like, the actor that's always a little bit of himself. But yeah, the wagon train to the sky as in the adventurous spirit going places kind of a thing. Oh, Jesse, I'm sorry to hear this. Yeah. How is Cadet Alice? Does she enjoy her summer? Gang, I posted a picture of Cadet Alice and me. We had Alice for the 4 days before we were gone for 11 days flying and SoonerCon and visiting and meetings. So yeah, I got the first time in 2 or 3 months we had Alice for 4 days, and we got 3, count them, 3 Cadet Alice shows. We have 7 in the can, so I think I'm going to start posting for season 2 of Prodigy, even though I know we're all kind of getting used to the fact that might be it. We still want to have it all there. You aren't failing. You are laying the groundwork for their later Trek love. There you go. Bing. Exactly. Carl, you weren't. Well, a lot of people around today weren't involved with Trek in the start. That's the 70s. And some of the names held on. Star San Diego and Star OKC were the longest running ones, I think. But you did read several other newsletters from the Utah Star chapters. There you go. STAR was Star Trek Association for Revival. And if you were a club chartered under that, you were a Star base. Get it? And that was preceded Starfleet as a local chapters based national Trek organization. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I clicked you again. Always the poetic optimist. There you go. You literally walked into the TTL as you were looking for something to kill time before one of my panels. If I got caught on camera texting, I was explaining to my group why I might be late. That was great. A group for a panel or just a meetup group? That's funny. Discount opportunity with an Aquaman hat. Aqua Shuttle Man, yeah. Now you're leaving work and hearing in the car. Okay. Your devotion is noted there, Captain Crusher. See, I keep trying to give you the name, don't I? Don't see yourself. And I hear you, Sean. You have many kinsmen in many countries that are the same way. The tourism, I saw something. Tourism is down 10% across the country, and then variously, it's probably much worse in the border states, especially Canada. The cons are down because of that, and people are just in America. Americans aren't traveling big time as much. They just, hey, Melanie Jean, and yes, good old John across all the universes. Eugene Bradford. My city editor, Karen, when they announced the cast for the Next Generation pilot, she said, "Oh, Eugene's going to be on Star Trek." Yes, indeed. Aw. Rose, is this your first convention? Or first one in a long time? That's awesome. Can only do one countdown at a time, so 11 days time, the 12th and 13th of July, Comic-Con West Midlands. And then 16 days to go for Strange New Worlds. You were never more relieved by a Trek episode than having Rom on Lower Decks. There you go. Yeah, he's still around, right? He's still alive in the universe. In Deep Space Nine, they had wide field phasers that were installed for security and finding changelings. Yeah, were those phasers or just some kind of a scanning beam? But if they were, that's cool. Yay, Ira and Ron for keeping it old school or just continuous. Janeway had to wield the shotgun in her tank top because she looked so cool. Yes. Lower decks. What are you saying here? We celebrate the first moon landing quite heavily here where I live in the birthplace. I hope you do. I would think you do. Yeah, July 16th. Isn't AO, you mean AI? What TNG predicted? Scan a few episodes of Leah Brahms and bang, you have some more. Yeah. Who? Yes. All the evil computers are locked up, so it can't be them. There you go. You can't cheer on your Twitch. You can't cheer on Twitch? Okay. Mona, I'm not holding them back. I just want to have a few. We've now got, I guess, over a fourth. We now have 7. So there you go. Oh, thank you, Dan. My goodness. Thank you for the pound. Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, Sheila. Sheila, have you been lurking? I want to say you've been on with us before on Tuesdays, right? Well, I think 16 was the launch day and the 20th. The 20th is the landing day now that we say this. Oh, the LZ poster had no bids. And the dedication plaque did not meet reserve. Thanks for having. Oh, hi, Sheila. Yes, it's Mike Demerit's wife, everybody. The LZ poster had no. Well, stupid people. See, it didn't have a human touch with it. I'm so sorry, Sheila. And the dedication plaque did not meet reserve. So we had Mike, I think the last home live TTL was Mike was a guest, and he's been on Portal and with us and Trek Files many times, and it's awesome. And I'm very bummed, Sheila, and tell Mike I'm very bummed. And the world is just, I don't think it had enough promotion. I think even the other things I don't know how it did. I didn't see any real news stories out there on the news sites. I'm really bummed to hear that, but I don't think they did a good job. I think it got swallowed up. What is going on? Hey, everybody, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Okay. Well, then I'm going to switch cameras. Boom. Hi, everybody. Apparently, I had my phone plugged in and it was not charged. Hi, you're over here. I feel like Michelle on the blooper. Well, apparently my phone was plugged in and not charging the whole time. So I'm going to move the window over here and we will continue with camera B, and you can see my wide, ugly angle because I can't do anything else about it. In fact, I can't do this. I could do this. There. Bums me out, Sheila. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But it's not the end of the world. You can bring it back around. I'll talk to Mike. There's places he can go back with those people who are doing it, but it needs to be chatted up and talked up. And the Voyager fandom, the the Enterprise fandom needs to know about the LZ poster. Yes. Yeah, you did. Now I realize it's you. Thank you, Jim. May this month be filled with many Trekkie moments. On the Trekmark channel. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Yeah, Sherry, it's East. Don't work yourself too hard as you're saving folks up there, working to save lives and people up there in North Carolina. Sorry, we fixed it because my camera was not charging. I still don't know why it's not. Why? Oh, there it is. Now it's back. It just, camera died and blurred. I'll stick with this till the end, though. Till the end. As the band plays Nearer My God to Thee, or whatever it was, on the deck. Yeah. First steps, the landing was on the 20th. They walked overnight into the 21st. GMT. Yeah, yeah. It's just I can't control the frame. Okay. Well, we got everybody wrapped up there, Rose. We got you straightened out there on everything. Gang, I think that's going to do it. I think that's going to do it for us now on this camera, on the iMac camera. It's so glad for you to join us here on a slow summer, strange new worlds in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Comic-Con San Diego coming up this month, Trek Vegas around the corner. I'm so behind and unprepared on things, but I got a new shelf built in the dining room, in the buffet. Yay. Look, everybody, I want to thank all of our Patreon folk again. Thank you so much, everybody. And you know, if you want to join my Patreon too, all you got to do is do it. No, that's Roger Miller. All you have to do is patreon.com/TreklandLive, $5-10 a month. You can do more, but that's the minimum levels for the shout out. $10 gets you access to the earlier years guest night event moments, videos, and the chat with fabulous Star Trek creatives. There's a few down there over time. Really do appreciate that, everybody. Thanks so much for Patreoning with us. And you know, if you want to find me anywhere on the socials, there we go. It's Larry Nemechek, of course, on Blue Sky and Twitter. I still call it Twitter. And Trekland, just look for Trekland on everything else. Facebook, especially Instagram, yada yada. Portal47.net if you really want to see what all the deep diving excitement is about. We talk about the portales. I've got some of them on here. Absolutely. And at the same time, don't be confused. The Patreon for Mission Log, the Roddenberry Discord and Patreon, gets you to our every other week roundup community live show Trekophiles Tonight for the Trek Files. Love to have you in the active community there, but hey, the podcast is up again. Today it's Adam Costco, our guest here from a few weeks back, looking at the origin of Discovery. Yes, I know, modern Trek. We had the document. So the press release. Interesting stuff, fun stuff. And Adam, of course, has a unique take on the modern shows. One of the first, I think, people to do that seriously as a critic, but also as an academic, not just fan blather. So, although he's very much a fan too. So check out the Trek Files. Next week is our season finale. Can I say it? Can I say it with none other than Jonathan Frakes? And talking about the anniversary this year that nobody else is talking about. I'll leave it with you there. Make sure to check out this week. And of course, thetrekfiles.com gets it to you at the Memory Alpha page with the whole catalog. You can access all of our, you can search and scan for guests, for other names on documents. You can, all the documents are there, and there's a sample. It's an awesome place. I was hoping when we did all that there'd be a community space too. That didn't turn out. And that is why the Discord thing happened. So I love it if you all can join us, not next Monday, but a week from Monday for 4 p.m. Pacific for the Trekophiles Tonight live meetup. No recordings. Come as you are. As with all the other Roddenberry shows, like Mission Logs After Dark on Thursdays, shows and non-show related things everybody's doing on the Roddenberry Mission Log Discord. Thanks for doing that. The Discord with the Patreon, $1 a month. Patreon, very easy, very simple. Appreciate you doing that. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you supporting Trekland in all the ways. If you ever want to take a Trekland Treks, let me know. Of course, if you're a Portal 47 member, you have a discount coming too. That's going to do it for us here. We'll be back next week, 1 week closer to the Strange New Worlds premiere, thank God. Meanwhile, I really need to watch my screeners as we get caught up from being gone 11 days and get on with the summer cons. Thanks so much for everybody being with us today. Yeah, please, everybody, um, do all the things, stay healthy, and stay woke, check your sources. It's pretty thick out there. Do what you can. And yeah, keep your eyes open for the Star Trek fans who are already Star Trek fans. Trek well, everybody.